to talk a little bit about identity and how I've struggled to find my identity as an autistic person. And this is just my personal experience, but maybe some of you watching this will relate to some of the things I'm about to say. I've spent most of my life without a clear sense of identity, and I realized that it's because most of my formative years, which I would say is probably like middle school, high school through college, most of that time was spent masking, second-guessing myself and my own needs and interests, all while hoping to gain people's approval or acceptance by trying to blend into the crowd. I'm scared to be myself. I don't know how to be myself without fear of ridicule or disapproval. I've never truly felt seen or understood by most people, and that made me scared to unmask around people. I realized that when you grow up as a high-functioning autistic person, that doesn't mean that you yourself are high-functioning. All it means is that we function well enough in society for most neurotypicals to be able to tolerate us. After being told that I'm too loud, too emotional, weird, that I talk too much, etc. for years, I internalized all those hurtful comments and slowly started to believe them. I didn't think I would ever find people who were genuinely kind and cared about me and weren't trying to use me. I didn't think I would find any of that by being myself, because the times where I was being myself, it didn't sit well with people. I was scared to go out of my way to talk to people because I didn't want to be met with the same hurtful remarks. I hoped that just trying to blend into the crowd in hopes of people liking me enough to keep me around would somehow fill that void. It didn't. Musically, I feel it's no different for me. I have always felt several steps behind everybody else. Growing up, I didn't share the same musical interests with anyone my age. I'll let y'all in on a little secret. As a teenager in the 2010s, the music that I was most into was 80s hair metal. I don't know if anyone my age at the time even knew what that was, but I never brought it up to anybody because it was so different from anybody else's music taste at the time, and to most kids at that age, different meant weird. And weird kids got made fun of. Weird kids were isolated. I didn't want to be isolated, but I also didn't want to bend and shape who I am as a person just to appeal to others. But I felt like I had to do that because I didn't think anybody would accept me for who I was based on the mean comments I've gotten in the past. And then when I got to college, it was that all over again times 10. Being that I was in school for jazz, and being that I knew nothing about jazz at the time, I didn't think I had a choice. I had to learn it. I had to get good at it. I had to enjoy it. I didn't, and I hated it. Forcing myself to learn a style of music that I wasn't truly invested in just to hopefully stay afloat amongst the other musicians in my class genuinely made me hate jazz for a time. And it made me forget about the entire reason why I started playing guitar in the first place. It made me forget that music isn't just a job, it's supposed to be fun. And without the fun aspect, it just became another job, and I just became another no-name, unidentifiable guitar player. I didn't have any motivations to go to jam sessions, start a band, write music, any of that stuff, and I felt so empty and disconnected. I never felt comfortable pretending to be something that I wasn't. But at the time, the possibility or the risk of a lack of acceptance from other people was even more painful. So I put on a happy face and tried my best to blend in, and then would mercilessly shame myself for not being able to because of my autism. All the while, I'm drained. And most neurotypical people, sadly, will never understand how draining it is pretending to be something that you're not. Some people can just do that and not be affected by it, but I can't. I feel like I lose a part of myself when I mask around people. It's physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally exhausting. Yet I did it for years and years because I'd convinced myself that it would somehow be worse for me if I let my walls down. And the worst part of it was, it didn't even work. As much as I masked, as much as I tried to fit in with everyone around me, didn't work. And it wasn't until really last year, or maybe late in 2022, where I really started to deconstruct my life experience as an autistic person and realize just how unrealistically high the standards that I set for myself were. And now I'm left with the remains of whoever I tried to be. And I would be lying if I said it didn't sting. Because I look back at myself and I'm like, why were you concerned about any of that?